Morning everyone. Apologies for not being in today. I'm sure that you are aware that I have unfortunately caught the Rona. So I'm really sorry that I'm not going to be here today. But there are a few things that I just need to go through with you. I ideally wanted to go through with you today in person, but I suppose doing a recording like this does have its benefits because you can go back and re-watch this and listen to my amazing voice, which appears to be several octaves lower than what it usually is. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about exhibition design, but before we move on with that, there's just a few things we need to just go over again. I know I keep banging on about this, but it is important just to clarify what is going to be happening over the next few weeks, especially that time after Easter. So just to reiterate, we on the 4th of May, this is going to be the last day that you guys are going to be working within the department. So on the Thursday we are going to be moving into our exhibition space, which is looking like it is going to be Crompton Place in Bolton. We are going to be releasing details of that hopefully tomorrow, Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We are just waiting for the final go-ahead from the owners, but it seems to be moving forward quite nicely. And then the final deadline, so that's everything to be in your exhibition space and everything to be on your website by the 12th of May. So the assessment will begin on the Friday the 13th. Oh, that's unfortunate. Didn't realise that. So, moving swiftly on, just a reminder that obviously there is no exam, you already know this, but the whole of your A level is going to be based on component 1 alone. So all your A level grade will be based on this project that you're working on now. So just a reminder that there are 5 stages to this project. I know I keep banging on about this, but it is very important. This handout is available, it's pinned up on the wall, so if it is that you've forgotten what is expected of you, please make sure that you have a look through this and tick off everything that you've done and then plan what it is that you need to complete. So we've talked about the assessment objectives before, but as we're talking about the exhibition and designing that and your final piece, it is worth just reiterating how you are going to be assessed. So when we look at the 4 assessment objectives, which we have talked about before, just a reminder that when we look at these assessment objectives, they all link together. So this is actually quite a helpful diagram because the way the assessment objective 4 in particular works, because assessment objective 4 is sort of how this project concludes, it's all linked with the 3 other assessment objectives. So just a reminder that the assessment objective 1 is your ability to understand critically the work of others. So this is within your critical links, this is within the personal study, this is your gallery research. So that equates to 25% of your overall A level. The second is development, so AO2. This is what you guys are particularly good at. So this is, your branding, then looking at print-based design, then looking at UI design, then looking at how we can translate that into merch design, apps, websites. So as graphic designers, you are actually very good at the assessment objective 2. So lots of you have lots of evidence within that particular assessment objective. So this is the drawing and this is the photo shoots. Now you must have evidence of a drawing. You cannot be entered for the A level without it. So there's some examples from last year's students. If it is the drawing isn't your strength, so remember we did the drawing workshop, just scan those images in. If drawing isn't one of your strengths, I would suggest you doing 2 or even 3 photo shoots because they come under the same assessment objective. So please make sure that you have your drawing. Without it, you cannot be entered for the A level. And then finally, this is the assessment objective 4, and this is what we're going to be discussing today. So this is it comes under the bracket of a personal response. So at A level, you all have to do separate projects. You can't all do the same thing. So in terms of the personal response, it's looking at how you started the project, how you've developed your ideas, and whether you have concluded it well. And in this case, for you, concluding it will be your final piece, which is going to be the exhibition space. So each of you are going to have a space that's like this at our exhibition venue. So it's 2 walls, and the walls measure 122 by 244 centimetres. Okay, in feet, that's 8 feet by 4 feet. Okay, so it's going to look very similar to the image that you see here on the right. So your exhibition space should tell the story of this project, and the best way to look at examples of this is actually on Behance. So when you look at projects on Behance, you'll see, like this example on the screen, it tells the story of the brand or the project. So ultimately it might start off with the branding of it, what colours have been used, how they've been translated into print-based design, how that's been translated into screen-based design, how that can be translated into merchandise. It tells the story because Behance ultimately is a portfolio library. That's what it is. And that's what your exhibition space should do. So if you're looking for examples, obviously there's lots of examples on the HCC Art website, but there's also millions of examples on Behance. So let's just look at some past examples. Now it is worth saying that these are obviously all taken from years gone by, and the examples that I'm showing you on one wall would be their personal investigation, which is what you're doing, the component 1, and on the other wall would have been their exam. So for you guys it is going to be slightly different because both your walls are going to be taken up by the component 1, this personal investigation project that you're working on. But sometimes people have things within their spaces, so people sometimes often put like t-shirts that they've made, merch that's available that they've made. Here you can see very much influenced by Behance, so at the top of the screen we've got the idea of the branding, we've got even down to the colour palette that's been used, we have print-based design, we have screen-based, and at the bottom of the page, or the wall, sorry, we have merch as well. So you can see with the graphics there's definitely a pattern that emerges when you look at these examples. You can also include little shelves as well in your exhibition space. So for example, like Nicole making those very, very beautiful architectural models, they'll obviously be placed on the wall or on a plinth in the space. So you can think about things like that if you wanted to add anything like that to your space. Some of you, especially those of you who have made working apps, may want to have a screen in their space. Now we are limited with the amount of TVs that we've got. We've only got 20 of them, and they do have to cater for the photography as well. But if it is that you have a final piece which is an animation, a short film, or like I said before, an app or a website, you can have a TV space or put forward for a TV space to be added to your exhibition area. So you can clearly see there's a pattern in some of these examples that I'm showing you. So this year we are having to approach it slightly differently, especially with the way that we're having the exhibition designs printed. Now previously we used to have them printed as stickers, but they have become incredibly expensive. So we've had to try and source printers that would enable you to have these beautiful designs printed that will hopefully fit the space well at a reasonable cost. So you are all going to be working on these templates. So all of you are going to have 2 prints each, measuring 1 metre by 150. So I've just put an example together for you. So this example is available on the HCC Art website, but basically you would put your best work onto these 2 prints. So the way that I've divvied this out, on one wall I focused on the brand and also how that's been applied to print-based design. And then on the other wall, I've put the screen-based design and some of the merch. So you would approach your designs like this, splitting them up like this. So if we were to look at that and what it would look like in the space, it would look like this in the space. Now some of you, may have shelves on there if you've had any books printed, or again if you want a TV screen, that may also be included in the space, but the vast majority of your walls are going to look like this. Now, the examples that we've got from previous years are designed in this shape. So when you actually look at the shape that you're working with, it's more square than it is like these shapes. But look at how it's been divvied up their wall. So at the top we've got the brand. Then we've got a section where she's used magazine content. So these were the images that she put inside the magazine that she designed. Then in the centre of the board we have magazine mock-ups. We also have the grid system that's been applied. Then we've got this branding key, and then at the bottom she's got the designs for screen. So she's showing me all these different stages of this project, just like that example. The only difference is you're going to be putting it on 2 walls. She's only had the opportunity to put it onto 1. Now, there might be a very small number of you that would want to have your exhibition space as the final piece alone. So I'm thinking someone like, Eva, you doing your little comic book, your graphic novel. You might want to look at the example on the right hand side there of the Adventures of Cutman. So if you wanted to, you could have the pages of the comic that you've designed. So these were just final pieces. So the one in the centre was a piece of infographics about football from that particular year, and then the one on the left hand side was to do with infographics again about the solar system. Now, all this material is available on the HCCR website. So if you go to the graphics, we have the examples on there. You've got the link back to this video on there as well. Just a reminder, you've also got the mock-ups, because the examples I've shown you, you'll see there's quite a lot of mock-ups on there. So how-to mock-ups, remember, the videos are there to help you. So we've got the videos. We've also got the link to an oak tree. So an oak tree is our website, which basically is our archive. So it's all the exhibitions that have ran the past 10, 12 years. So if you want to have a look at what people have done in the past, you can do, but just a reminder that you guys are different in the fact that you haven't done an exam, so both your walls are just going to be for component 1 only. So feel free to have a look through some of those examples. You will see that some of the spaces are looking a bit dated. Graphic design, we tend to have trends. We've also included the exhibition space template, so that was the 100 by 150 that I spoke about before. And then we've also got, for those of you who are wanting to do something slightly different, we have got the area that shows you how you can prep your prints to be professionally printed. So just a reminder of that, that's on HCCR. And also you'll see that there's a new section. This is the information regarding our exhibition venue. So here we've got the template. Now you are going to be getting a printed version of this, but this has got all the key dates on, the times, everything that you need, and then there's also some additional information about the exhibition space. But hopefully I'll be back on Thursday to go through that with you, fingers crossed. But yeah, in terms of this print, so these 2 100 by 150 prints that we're going to be sourcing for you, unfortunately we're unable to afford to buy you all them out of our budget. Now usually an exhibition wall would cost the student around £20 to £30 each wall. Now we have managed to source both these prints for the cost of £15. Now that is dirt cheap. If you look at sat in the room now, if you look at the wall, the prints that I have on the wall are the same size prints that you're going to get. So you're going to get 2 of them for 15 quid. Now we are going to organise the printing of them. However, we do need time to collate them all to send them to the printers. So there is going to be a print deadline of the 29th of April. So my advice would be that after that Easter break, that Monday the 25th when we come back, that week you will design these 2 walls. So you need to make sure that all 5 stages are complete for when you return at Easter. It takes the pressure off you, because obviously I think there's about 70 of you doing the graphics this year, so we have to collate 140 prints and send them off to the professional printers to be done. That's going to take us a few days to do. So please make sure that you stick to this deadline of the 29th of April. That is when these prints and these walls need to be designed for. Now, I know I've talked quite a lot, I do apologise, but hopefully you can go back and you can re-watch this. I'll have to be in touch about what's happening in Thursday's lesson. Obviously it will depend on whether I'm still testing positive or not. But if there is any problems, please message me on Teams. My advice would be to just crack on with these stages. Yep, work as fast as you can. Get those designs done. I'll be in touch, like I said, about Thursday's lesson. Hopefully I'll have a better idea on Wednesday whether I'll be able to come back in or not. Other than that, yeah, message me on Teams if you've got any questions, guys. Yeah, I'll speak to you soon, hopefully.